Welcome back, class, to the second part of third chapter of Environment Shankar IS Terrestrial Ecosystem. So the we will discuss about the remaining part. So let's start with the Himalayan moist temperate forest. This type of forest spreads from the western Himalayas to the eastern Himalayas, and the trees found in the western section are broad-leaved oak, brown oak, walnut, rhododendron, etc. And in the eastern Himalayas, the rainfall is much heavier, and therefore the vegetation is also more lush and dense. And there are a large variety of broad-leaved trees, ferns, and bamboo. And coniferous trees are also found here. Some of the varieties being different from ones in the south part. Himalayan dry temperate tree forest found in Lahul, Kinnaur, Sikkim, and other parts of Himalayas, and predominantly coniferous trees along with broad-leaved trees such as oak, maple, and ash. And at higher elevation, fir, juniper, deodar, and chilgoza are found. Subalpine forest extend from Kashmir to Arunachal Pradesh between 2900 to 3500 meters, and in the western Himalayas the vegetation consists mainly of juniper, willow, and blackcurrant, and in the eastern Himalayas red fir, black juniper, birch, and larch are the common trees. Due to heavy rainfall and high humidity, timberline in this part is higher than in the west, and the rhododendron of many species cover the hills in these parts. Moist alpine shrub Moist alpine scrub are the all along Himalayas, and on the higher hills near Myanmar border. And it has low scrub, dense evergreen forest, and consistently of rhododendron and birch, and mosses and ferns cover the ground in the patches, and this region receives very heavy snowfall. Dry alpine scrub found from the 3000 meter to about 4900 meters. Dwarf plants predominate here, mainly the black juniper, drooping juniper, and honeysuckle and willow. The next ecosystem is grassland ecosystem, and it is found where the rainfall is 25 to 75 centimeter of rainfall per year, not enough to support a forest but more than a true desert. And typical grasslands are vegetation formations that are generally found in temperate climates, and in India there are mainly in the high Himalayas. They are found mainly in the high Himalayas, and the rest of the India's grasslands are mainly composed of steppes and savannas. The major difference between the steppes and savannas is that all the forage in the steppe is provided along only during the brief wet season, and is in the savannas it is not only grow during the wet season but also from smaller amount of regrowth in the dry season. Steppe formation occupy large areas of sandy and saline soil, that is in western Rajasthan, where the climate is semi-arid and average rainfall is less than 200 millimeter a year, with a dry season to 10 to 11 months and large variation in rainfall. So there are some types of grasslands. First one is semi-arid zone. In the semi-arid zone, it is covers the northern portion of Gujarat, Rajasthan, and western UP. and Delhi and Punjab, and the topography is broken up by hill spurs and sand dunes. Second one is a dry subhumid zone, which is cover the whole of peninsular India except Nilgiri. Third one is uh, third one is moist subhumid zone. Moist subhumid zone, which covers Ganga alluvial plain in northern India, and the topography is level, low lying, and ill drained, not good. And fourth one is humid montane regions. This extends to moist subhumid areas of Assam, Manipur, West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, and Punjab and Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. And savanna is derived from the humid forest on account of shifting cultivation and sheep grazing. Next ecosystem is desert ecosystem. Deserts are found in regions with less than 25 centimeter of annual rainfall, or sometimes in hot regions where there is more rainfall but unevenly distributed in annual cycle. Lack of rain in the mid latitude is often due to stable high pressure zones, and deserts in temperate regions often lie in rain shadows, that is where high mountains block off moisture high mountains block off moisture from the seas. And the climate of these biomes is modified by altitude and latitude. At high altitude and at a great distance from the equator, the deserts are cold and hot near the equator and tropics. Means at high altitude and a greater distance from the equator, we have deserts are cold, and nearer to the equator we have hot deserts. So here we have some adaptations that that makes the deserts plants easy to live, or in the area of under hot and dry conditions. So the adaptations are, these plants conserve water by following methods, and these methods are, they are mostly shrubs, and leaves are absent or reduced in size. Leaves and stems are succulent, and water storing succulent means the capability to the sucking of the water portion from the soil. And in some plants, even the stem contains chlorophyll for the photosynthesis, and root system is well developed and spread over the large area. And the annual where present germinate, bloom, and reproduce only during the short rainy season and not in the summer and winter season. This is an adaptation to desert condition. Second one is the animals are physiologically and behaviorally adapted to the desert conditions. In the above portion, we saw the methods of the adaptation of the plants. In this part, we have seen the adaptation of the animals, that they are fast runners, they are nocturnal in habit to avoid the sun's heat during daytime, and they conserve water by excreting a concentrated urine. Animal and birds use have very long legs to keep the body away from the hot grounds. And lizards, which is mostly insectivorous, can live without drinking water for several days. And herbivorous animals get sufficient water from the seeds which they eat. And mammals as a group are poorly adapted to deserts. Means mammals are poorly adapted to deserts. So let's talk about the Indian desert, which is Thar desert, and it is hot in nature. and the climate of this region is characterized by excessive drought and rainfall being scanty and irregular. The winter rains of northern India rarely penetrate into region, means winter rains of northern India did not come to this region, and the November to March this characterized by extreme variations of temperature, and temperature is frequently below freezing point at night. And the flora we have seen in this type of desert is depending directly upon rain, and those depending on the presence of subterranean water. So we have a first group which consists of two types, that is depending directly upon on the rain, which is one of the two types, and ty- uh, these type of flora known as Eperlins, Epernearls, and these are delicate in annuals, apparently free from any xerophilus adaptations, having slender stems and root systems and often large flowers. They appear almost immediately after rain and develop flowers and fruits in an incredibly short time and die as soon as the surface layer of soil dries up. Perennials are visible above the ground only during the rainy season, but have a perennial underground stem. Second time, that is depending on the presence of subterranean water. Second group, which is depending on the presence of subterranean water, they are capable of absorbing water from deep below surface of the ground by means of well developed root system, and main part of which generally consists of a cylinder woody taproot of extraordinary length, and generally various other xerophilus adaptations are resorted to, such as reduced leaves, thicky hair growth, succulents, coatings of wax, thick cuticle protected stomata, all having for their object of reduction of transpiration. The fauna of Thar Desert is home to some of India's most magnificent grasslands and sanctuary for a charismatic bird, which is Great Indian Bustard. And among the mammal, we have black buck, wild ass, chinkara, caracal, sand grouse, and desert fox inhabit the open plains, grasslands, and saline depressions, and the nesting ground of flamingos, and only known population of Asiatic wild ash lies in the remote part of Great Run, which is located in the Gujarat, and it is the migration flyway used by cranes and flamingos. Cold desert and temperate desert. Cold desert of India include area of Ladakh, Leh, and Kargil of Kashmir, and Spiti Valley of Himachal Pradesh, some parts of northern Uttarakhand and Sikkim. They are arid in nature, which is are not affected by Indian monsoon because they lie in the rain shadow of the Himalayan mountains, and they have the characteristics of extreme cold weather and denuded terrain. They are not suitable for plant growth. Isolated, scattered, and overgrazed herbaceous shrubs are found, and grazing period is less than 3 to 4 months. Here are some features of the cold and temperate deserts, that they are arid in nature, that is dry atmosphere, temperature less than 0 degrees Celsius for most of the period, that is drop to minus 50 degrees Celsius during winter, insignificant monsoon, that is mean rainfall less than 400 millimeter, heavy snowfall occurs between November and March. Soil type is sandy to sandy loam. Soil pH is neutral to slight alkaline. Next one is biodiversity. Cold biodiversity of cold desert. Cold desert is the home of highly adaptive, rare endangered fauna such as Asiatic ibex, Tibetan argali, Ladakh, Urigal bharal, Tibetan antelope, wild ash, wild yak, snow leopard, brown bear, Tibetan wolf, and black-necked crane, etc. India, as a signatory to the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, has submitted 4 national reports to United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification in the years 2000, 2002, 2006 and 2010. Some of the major programs currently implemented that addresses issues related to land degradation and desertification. First one is Integrated Watershed Management Program. Second one is National Afforestation Programs. Third one is National Mission for Green India. Then we have MG Naregas. Then soil conservation in the catchment of river valley project and flood prone river, desert development program, fodder and feed development schemes, and grass reserves, command area development, etc. So we have complete our third chapter of environment Shankar IS. Thank you, class.